So 40 is the new cancer 60. What does that mean? Well, I'm Dr. Lorenz at Longevity Health Institute, and I'm going to share with you why, as well as some professors and physicians I know, why they're saying and we're seeing cancer rates being diagnosed in younger and younger individuals. So let me share this first with you. This is just some acknowledgments. So one is Dr. Ng from Dana-Farber Cancer Center, Dr. Tim Riebach, Harvard School of Public Health, Dr. Campbell, Dr. Brody, Dr. Esterman. Dr. Campbell is an epidemiologist out of Albert Einstein College of Medicine. But what I'm about to tell you is public knowledge, cohort studies in the Journal of American Medical Association, JAMA. But I want to share this with you because here in the practice here at Longevity Health Institute, and if you're following this, you need to subscribe and share this. And please, I beg you, share this video with people, friends and family, even younger people. Put it on your thread in that. And the reason is because this is real stuff that I see clinically here. The data is real in the US, but it's also an epidemic, and that is younger and younger being diagnosed cancer. So I want to share some things with you, and so to get you to think and how we approach this here at Longevity Health Institute and myself with our patients to really impact your life, because we can do all these wonderful things with nutrients, vitamins, hormones, detoxification, NAD, vitamin IVs, hyperbaric oxygen, photomodulation, molecular hydrogen, all these things, okay? The reality is if we don't diagnose you, okay, with a early, hopefully never, right? But an early stage 0 or 1 cancer, stage 3 and 4, okay, the actual change in the last several decades, okay, in survival is 4% of the average of all cancers. So meaning we have to catch you early. Now, obviously some are less aggressive than others, but we have to catch you early. That's the bottom line. So under the age of 50, okay, there is colorectal cancer, for instance, just one thing. Colorectal cancer is up 2% per year since 1995. Now the death rates in the last couple of years are up 1 to 2%, and we expect it to even go higher, okay? And this is all younger cancers, okay? And there's over 15% of colorectal cancers that are diagnosed under the age of 50, but by 2030, it's predicting it will lead and surpass breast cancer for diagnosis of all cancers under the age of 50. So the bottom line is there is a big surge in colorectal and GI cancer, okay? Kind of tell you why and what I think, why this is happening, and what these other doctors that actually published this stuff and do back up. And the stuff I'm about to tell you is from these cohort studies and JAMA that I mentioned in that studies. But it's really drastic. In fact, actually, a JAMA study in 2023, a cohort study that was just published not long ago, 500,000 patients were followed, 50 years and younger. The most of all the cancers diagnosed were GI, gastrointestinal cancers, okay? A huge link, by the way, is obesity and weight. Huge link. Insulin resistance, sugar, lifestyle is a huge risk factor to early stage cancer, early diagnosis of cancer. So meaning if you're overweight in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, you gotta, and your practitioner has to start looking deeper and earlier into cancer and cancer prevention. So you can't screen people anymore like we normally have at 50 and 60 years old. We have to start thinking and screening people younger and using preventative tactics, which we do here. We do this all the time here, but we have to do this, more in the norm, and it can't just be the esoteric here and there or a place like functional personalized medicine like us, okay? Number one thing is obesity. Number two, okay, and this is backed up by this Dr. Ng, and he's from Dana-Farber Cancer Center, and Dr. Peter Campbell, an epidemiologist. The number one and number two thing is obesity And number two is environmental toxins, okay? In our lifestyle, all these things, these environmental toxins, these chemicals, these heavy metals, the exposure, and this is happening worldwide because of Western way of living has gone to Europe and gone to, Eastern Europe and all that. So, fast foods, red meat, sugar consumption, processed foods. So you hear me talk about this all the time about how we have to eat real, eat whole, eat organic, okay? But real non-processed food, eating more fruits and vegetables, less meat, less sugar, okay? And cleaning out your environmental exposure, or at least being aware of it, is so key. And not waiting till you're 50, 60, 70, you gotta do it now. So if you're listening to this and you have children that are 20 and 30, they need to hear this, okay? Because it's gonna show up, and this is not going anywhere. It's kind of like when inflation happens, sadly, and the rates go up and you're paying more for everything and paying more for cars and homes and your percentage rates on your credit cards and all that, it doesn't go down, okay? Or it goes down nominally. These cancer rates are here to stay. We have to think of 40-year-olds like they're 60-year-olds and do better screening and think forward. Now, I'm going to tell you a few things that we do here, okay? And what's really key. Now, I believe in our model is really key. And why is because why it addresses weight. We address weight with everybody, no matter what your goals are and you come in here for, okay, we're addressing weight, and that's one of our goals, okay? Because no one lives long fat, okay? And I started to be crass and harsh, but it's the reality, okay? It leads to earlier diseases, earlier chronic conditions, and earlier mortality, okay? You die young if you're fat. There's no 80, 90-year-olds walking around the earth right now, okay? Or very, very few statistically that are obese, okay? The other thing is you have to consider your environment, okay? Now, when we say environment, we mean, are you eating whole, like I already said? Are you eating a lot of processed? You're getting exposed to heavy metals, PFAs, endocrine disruptors, drinking out of plastics, We test you here, all these environmental toxins, we test heavy metals, and we have ways of getting them out of you. These are very key because when you look up endocrine disruptors, PFAs, PFAs, they call them forever chemicals. Once you've been exposed, unless you're, strategic and target them, they are hard to get out of you. We do have ways to get them out of you, okay? But you got to clean up your environment. You got to clean up your exposure. You got to get lean. You got to get active, okay? And you also, though, which I know it's going to sound contrary to what I'm talking about, you got to get positive. You got to live. You got to, get to living, not get to dying. But when you live dirty, you get to dying, okay? You live positive and preventative, you get to living, okay? So remember that, okay? But there's huge links to this. These epidemiologists and these studies are supporting it. And I'm seeing clinically here, sad, I gotta tell you, it's disgusting. But I have never in my 25 years of practicing, and this includes in the emergency room, hospitals, okay, big institutions, Henry Ford Hospital, Beaumont, Botsford Hospital, okay. I've never seen these stories that are coming in for help. 19-year-olds with thyroid cancer, 40-year-olds with throat and tongue cancer, 47-year-old with sinus and tongue cancer, okay? GI esophageal cancer in a 42-year-old, breast cancer in a 36-year-old, okay? These rates are happening younger and younger, okay? So we gotta screen you and we gotta do the right thing, okay? Now, another thing that we do here, which I love, and you've heard me talk in other videos, is our Galleri test, our methylation cancer cell marker. It's a blood test. I love, hugely support that because it tells us in it's a way of screening things that we don't have great screenings for, like breast cancer and colon cancer. So head and neck cancer and thyroid cancer and lung cancer and all these. We don't have great screenings for some of these GI cancers until you're much older. So you can do this Galleri test. That is excellent, just a blood draw that checks for 50 solid tumors, and it's very predictive in looking at some of these, and I really like to use that, and I think it's at the forefront of early diagnosis. Early diagnosis is cure and is a way of preventing, because if we, again, wait to your stage 3 or 4, okay, your 5-year survival is very low typically. It's less than 50%. when you catch people in stage 0 or 1 or early 2s, okay, your 5-year survival is pretty much 90 to 100%. Most cases, I'm being generalized, but we have to catch you early, okay? Very, very key. Now, again, we build a model here for your immune system, and yes, I'm going to bring up other causes of cancer and why I think we're seeing them, and it's not coincidental, just the last number of years, okay, is since COVID. The COVID vaccine, okay, the spike protein, but also COVID virus itself affects the immune system. It destroys the gut lining, it affects your Th2, Th1 immunity, okay? And we get a down regulation of a lot of our helper cells. We get a suppression of our CD4, CD8 ratio, which is a way of judging your balance of your immune system. And these express, in fact, other things like CD38. And when that's expressed, you get more senescent cells and there's higher rates of cancer. So the virus, many viruses cause DNA damage our telomeres, our DNA end caps. Anytime you damage DNA, you have a higher risk of cancer. So think of what we're talking about. Bad environment, Western way of living, obesity, okay, eating poorly, high stress, and environmental toxins. What are we gonna see? We're gonna see higher and earlier rates of cancer. But you have to think, and we can help here, you have to think of the 40-year-old is the new 60-year-old, okay, and how we think of and screen cancer, okay? So please follow me. Please share this, because I don't need you as a patient. I need you to get empowered to fill your loved ones and your family and friends and share this, because this is real medicine, it's real data, and I'm seeing it here clinically, and it's worldwide. So get to living, okay? This is Dr. Lorenz, Longevity Health Institute. We're always here to help. Be well.